welcome to JFix and a new video. We are back. We are in a new location and I'm finally able to make some videos again, which I'm really excited about. Now, while I've been busy moving house, I have actually been sent a few items. One of them I would like to show you today. This came from Bakon and this is a soldering iron. Now, when Bakon reached out to me and asked me if I'd be interested to take a look at their soldering iron, I checked this product and I was interested because the price point is quite good on this one. So, if it actually performs well, this could be a great option for people who are looking to get into soldering and having a budget iron, but actually something that's quality and actually going to do the job properly. Now, spoiler alert, I have already looked at this soldering iron. We unboxed it together on a live stream and I did use it and I was actually really impressed with this. But we'll be taking a deeper dive into it now and having a look at the features, understanding how they work, and we'll do a little demonstration and see if this is actually a good soldering iron worth spending your money on. Okay, so here it is then. This is the Bakon and the model is a BK212. Now, as I say, I've already opened this, I've already tried it and had a go at it before presenting you this video. But yeah, it did come in a box on here, very well packaged, as you can see. You know, no issues there at all. There is a little yellow sponge in there, but apart from that, there is nothing else left in the box. Personally, I don't use the little yellow sponge. I would prefer to use the brass bush on here. This is a Hakko one. I find that's better for cleaning the iron tips. Now, I wasn't actually sure who Bakon were when they reached out to me, so I did look at their website and they seem to be, you know, I'll show you here, have quite a comprehensive range of products on their website. And, you know, they do also do some quite high-end stuff as well, you know, almost for working on an assembly line on here, some screwdrivers, and they have ESD type of things. It also looks like they have quite a big range of you know, different types of soldering irons and different products you know, at different price points. One thing that I appreciate about this setup is it's quite straightforward and quite simple, quite a sleek design really, and doesn't take up much space on the bench. This is the main unit here. As you can see, it's the 212 and controls are super simple. You've got this, you know, up and down knob on here, which can also click as you go through the menus, and just a single button. So not much to learn or master. It's quite straightforward. And obviously it's got the soldering iron connection point on the front on here as well, which, you know, is quite convenient. Looking on the back, we've got the AC input on here with the on-off switch and the sleep function on here. My personal preference would actually be have the power switch on the front of the unit on here to save me reaching around and pressing the button, but unfortunately that's the design with most of these soldering stations. Same with the one that I've currently got, it's on the back. So, you know, I mostly leave mine on all the time, but you can just reach around and switch it off if you need to. The other things you get in the box is obviously the handle. This one is the T245 on here, and it does use the cartridge style tips. So these are the JBC style tips, and I've got a big knife tip on this one that came with the iron itself. I like these because they are super simple to change out, and the unit is compatible with any of the handles on here. So you can get the 115, you can get the 210, the 245, and it even does, I think the big one is called the 470, and this unit can do any of the handles on there, and there are different options when you purchase it, which handle you would prefer to go with. So this little guy here is obviously the stand on here, and it's very well made. This is one thing I do actually really like about this iron, this super simple little stand on here, because it doesn't take up much real estate on here. It fits the handle perfectly well on there, and yeah, it's just a nice design. If I compare it to my other ones, what you'll notice about these ones are they are much bigger and much chunkier than that one, and it's kind of unnecessary really, because as you can see, this is the 245 one on here. Also fits perfectly well in this stand. And to be honest with you, that stand is all you need. Yes, it does have a few extra features on here, like you could store some tips and you can remove them on here. And, you know, you've kind of got adjustment, but you don't really need that. I always leave it in the same place, roughly the same angle as that. So yeah, these are a bit chunky, and now I've not got them on the main desk. I've had to put them right over to the side just to make space. So this little tray on the front here is obviously designed for the yellow sponge, but I'll probably just use that as a little storage area for bits on there, because I've got the brass brush separately on there, but you could, you know, put the sponge in there or another cleaning thing if you wanted to, and that's absolutely fine. So I will plug this in to the back of the soldering iron. Now, to be honest with you, if you did want to change tips and it's hot, you can actually, I figured, just push it in there and pull it out. It's no problem at all. And then, you know, if you were putting a new tip in, you can actually use these little holes in here just to, you know, push it down. So it does actually work for removing the tips, you know, if that's something that you did want. So let's get into this and try it out then. All we need to do is simply connect that into there. And you can use it like that, but if you want to be able to make the soldering iron go to sleep when you put it into there and switch off or go into standby mode, you've just got to have a little link-in cable on there. So we will connect that up as well. There is a very small hole in the back, so we'll pop that into there. And as we already saw, there was a sleep hole in the back. So now those can talk to each other. Super compact setup, so you could have that on the top if you wanted to, or off to the side, however you want to set it up on your desk. Let's get a power cable connected. Okay, we'll plug a power cable in there and turn it on. What you'll notice is that the screen is quite nice and vibrant on here because it's blue with the white font on here. It really pops, so it's quite nice, easy to see. What you can see on the top here is you've got a little sleep icon on there because it's already registered that we plugged that cable in. But if we take it out, you'll be able to see that the screen is going to wake up, and we are set to 100, and it, you know, reached 100 instantly on there. And if we put it back in to the dock, you'll be able to see it's going back to sleep again. So we're set to 100, adjusting the temperature. You can just use the wheel on here and you've got a nice fine adjustment if you required. You can see on here what it's set to. And if you go faster, you can see like whew, it goes quickly and speeds up. So yeah, I do really like the adjustments on this one. Especially the way it can, you know, speed up or slow down. One thing, when I first used the iron, I wasn't quite sure about the options, so let me just show you what I mean. If you hold down the settings menu, the options are like FO1, FO2, FO3, things like that, so I wasn't quite sure what they are, but I've got it now. So if you go on FO1, I'll have to keep doing it because the menu goes off. So you'll see in the top for FO1, you've got the little sleep. So if I click into that one, that's your sleep time. So you can set how many seconds before it goes to sleep. So I'll probably just have it, I mean, you can turn sleep off altogether. I just have it set to like 1 second on there, so it goes to sleep straight away. This is a plus and minus on FO2. So that one can set an offset. So if you did have some way of actually measuring the temperature, and if it was too high or too low, you could, you know, set a bit of an offset adjustment on here. It was already set to 10, I think, so maybe it has been calibrated previously, or if the temperature is correct, you could have that as 0. And the last option, FO3, that just changes from Celsius to Fahrenheit on there. So yeah, once you know, you don't need the manual, but I had to look that up for the first time. But I think I've got the menus now. The other thing I wasn't quite sure about as well is it says power mode up here. Now, I figured that out as well by looking at the manual. The power mode is when you're using the larger handles. So the 245 or the 470 will show power mode up here. But if you put a smaller handle in here, like a 115 or a 210, it should change the mode. I'll just demonstrate that to you now. So this little guy here is the 115. It is from my Bakon station on here, and it is actually compatible as well. So we'll just plug that guy in, and straight away it will register. And can you see it's changed from power mode to nano mode up here? So obviously these irons can't take the same amount of temperature and slightly different configuration for the smaller irons. So it's nice as well to know that other handles work, not just the ones that came included with this station. You've got this error on here because we've got nothing plugged into it. Now, I know one thing that is important to people is, you know, safety with these types of devices. So I would like to just do a couple of checks to see maybe whether the tip is grounded, whether there's any kind of voltage leak on the tip itself. So let's just do that together. Let me get my multimeter on the screen. Right. Okay, we've got the multimeter on the screen. So let's first of all just remove the power and let's check to see if this is grounded all the way through to the tip on the handle. That would be a good thing to check. Unplug that sleep wire for a moment. Okay, so let's put one leg on the ground here for the AC input, and let's just go on here actually. So you can see here 0 ohms, that's to the case, so that means the actual, you know, handle is grounded all the way through. 0 ohms, that's good. What about the end of the tip? That's on the end of the tip there, and that's also 0 ohms. So to me that's saying that everything is grounded all the way through, so that is good. Let me get the power back on and let's see if there is any voltage leakage on the tip. I'm just testing these things because I know it is a concern to people who are soldering, you know, maybe if you're soldering sensitive components and you've actually got voltage at the end of your tip on there, even though it might not have a lot of current, then potentially you could damage something that you're working on. So let's go into, well, let's check DC voltage first. We'll check them both. We'll check AC as well. Okay. So we know that it's grounded through, so let's go onto the shield here and let's check at the tip. And on DC here, we are getting millivolts on there. So it looks like there's nothing, but let's check on AC, see if the situation is the same as well. So going onto the edge there and on the tip on AC. Oh, yeah. So we've getting a measurement, but again, that's in the millivolts range on there. So not really anything. So I would say that that is actually pretty good. There's nothing at the end of the tip there. So in terms of Bakon, I think that's good credit for them. Seems to be everything checking out as it should be. We will get on to trying some soldering in a minute, but I'm just interested, does this actually work as a charger, this little USB-C on the front here? So let me just get my ammeter. Okay, so I've just grabbed my little Finercy ammeter. Let's plug that into the front. Oh, yeah, and we are getting 5 volts out of it. So let me just plug maybe my phone in to try and charge it. I've just got a USB-A lead, so I can test it with that and see if it works on 5 volts, but let's see if we can get some current. Fast charging, so that's working. Yeah, and it does seem to support some protocols as well, because it's jumped me up there to 9 volts and we're drawing 1.6 amps as well. So yes, definitely you could also use the front on here to charge things as well. So that could be quite neat, because obviously your soldering iron sits on the front of your desk, just gives you an extra USB charger. So I quite like the fact that they've integrated that with it. So as I say, I have already tried this out previously, and I couldn't notice any difference, to be honest with you, to my normal soldering iron. I'm not a soldering expert by any means, and I was only soldering on a tiny board. So let's go, should we go 350? I'd just like to test it on a bit more of a real life case for me. So I have got a laptop motherboard here. This is a gaming motherboard with a GPU and stuff like that. So hopefully it's slightly thicker and, you know, might give it a little bit more of a test. Okay, so we'll switch over to the microscope here, and let me try and remove one of these coils here. These are for the CPU phases on here, so that should give it a, you know, bit of a test. It's on a power plane, so probably the more thicker area of the motherboard to try and remove something from. So as I say, we're on 350 on here. I would usually be soldering at a much higher temperature, but I deliberately wanted to go a bit lower. But as you can see on there, yeah, I think we will need more. So let me up the temperature. Okay, we're on 420 now, which is a bit more of a direct comparison to what I normally use. So let's see how we get on with the 420. And bear in mind, we ain't got no flux on here as well. Let's see if it can melt this coil. There is a little power reading on here that says 2. I can see it feels like it's melted, to be fair. Yeah, and we've lifted the coil, that end. Let's try from this side as well, on here. Well, yeah, seems to work quite well actually. And obviously this is a 245 and a big tip on here. Let's just try again. We're not tinning it now. Let's just go straight in. We'll get it on the big side of the iron here. And let's try and melt this. Yeah, I think it needs a little bit more solder because it's not making the great contact. So let's tin up again. I think with a bit of solder it should transfer the heat a lot better. Yeah, comes off quite quickly then. And let's try it on the other side. I think we're getting there. Yeah, we're off. Let's try its wicking. We'll add a little bit of flux onto these pads on here. And let's see how it gets on, just wicking those away. Right, let's go. Seems fine. Again, take this with a pinch of salt because definitely not the best solderer in the world. I can only do enough just to get the job done usually. We are getting a bit of smoke from all that flux, but yeah, that seems to be working well. Let me just try and clean up the tip, see how well that cleans up. Yeah, and as you can see there, the tip has cleaned up quite nice. I used the brass bush, as I said before, and it does seem to take the solder quite nice on the end on this. Yeah, I think overall it's quite, seems to work well. Add a bit of solder onto these pads. Yeah, I would say I'm really happy with that. For working on a laptop motherboard, this kind of tip is a bit too big from what I normally use. In fact, I can actually put my smaller tip on and see how that compares. So here we go. This is my real-life tip, which I quite like. This is the tip that I use most of the time now, and it seems to work really well for me. So let's just try that one out. This is a bit of a better comparison for me because I'm used to using this tip. And to be honest with you, again, I'm not really good enough to notice the difference between the soldering irons. They seem to perform very similar to me. Comparing those both to each other, I mean, it melts it quite easily. Yeah. So, honest opinion on this then. Obviously, I don't have professional tools for testing soldering irons. I'm just going by, actually using it and comparing it directly to the other one that I've got, which is much more expensive. And I believe the price on here, I've actually seen it less than 60, with the vouchers, but I think around £60 English pounds. Don't know other countries, but yeah, for me, that's excellent value for something that works as well as this does. And I say it is compatible. We've tried it with other iron tips as well, and it depends which package you get. You can get it with all 3 handles if you want. Obviously that will add more to the cost, or you can just choose the handle that you like. I use the 245 personally most of the time. With, I say, that tip that came with it is a big wedge on there, so it's not as good for laptop boards, but you see the other tip works perfectly fine in there as well. Definitely, I think I will keep this on my workbench and test it over a longer period of time. And I haven't got any 210. At the moment, I've only got 245 and 115 on my current iron. So I'll probably, because it came with another 245, so I've obviously got 2 of those now, I'll get a 210 handle for this, and that will give me an in-between. And because it's nice and small, I'll definitely be able to find space on my workbench to keep this one. And yeah, that will give me the third option then to get the EM210, because there are some different types of tips that I can't get for the current irons that I've got. So yeah, I'm really happy that they sent me this. I can recommend it, and I said we'll have to see how it works over a longer period of time, make sure we've not got any issues. If there are, I'll definitely update it in the notes. But yeah, I think this is an absolute win, and I'd recommend this for the price point. So before I go, I just want to give a massive shout out to everybody watching this video and the videos on my channel. Obviously, I've not been able to upload for a while, moving house, so I appreciate you sticking around on there. Really means a lot to me. And finally, now we're able to try and get some videos done. I've got quite a few items that have been sent to me as well that I want to show, and I've agreed to, do a little review on. So we will be doing some more of these videos for the items that I've got, and I've got some quite interesting things. And then one of my subscribers has sent me a laptop, which we definitely need to try and work on together, because that's going to be an interesting fault. So that will be coming up very soon as well. And I know quite a lot of people have asked me about the Jerry Does Tech laptop as well, and that's still here in the box. We will be moving on and having another go at that one as well, trying to do some more further diagnostics on it, but I'll have to do some of these other videos first. But that will be coming at some point as well. I haven't given up on that one. But as I say, thank you for watching, and I'm going to see you in the next one.